everybody. Welcome back. I'm excited to present a very basic concept today, but I realized that I've never done an episode on this, and there's a lot of people out there that want to understand what this powerful investment vehicle is and how it works, who it might be good for, and how you can use it to make money. So stay tuned. We're going to talk about exactly what a syndication is, who it's for, how you can make money with it, and who it might not be a fit for. So let's jump in. I was on a call with one of our investors. They got a return of their capital, and I was on the phone with them asking how the experience was, how we could improvement, if there was anything missing, and they were really pleased with the experience. But I kept pushing them, for like, hey, what could we have done to improve things? And we gradually got on this idea of syndications. They had never done a syndication before, so we had them in some debt deals that we were doing. And I realized that I'd never done an episode on what exactly a syndication is. And so I started talking him through it, walking him through it. And he was like, wow, I didn't even know this existed. Like, send me some more information on it. So I decided to put together this episode to talk about the very basics of what a syndication is, how it works from A to Z, every nuance about syndications. So here it goes. A syndication is basically a way for investors and sponsors to pool their capital together and operations to buy bigger assets. That's basically it. It's very similar to crowdfunding. There are rules and laws and regulations around it. But if you have $50,000, you can basically go get started in a syndication today. Sometimes a lot smaller as well, but a lot of them, $50,000 is the minimum. And it's great if you're somebody that, say you want to go buy a big apartment complex, but you don't have a $3 million down payment, but you're like, man, I'd really like to buy that. You can do a syndication where you can pull your capital together with other investors and go buy that asset. And usually there's three people involved in a syndication. One is the limited partner, which is usually putting up the capital, and they pull their capital together. And the next is a general partner, which is usually the one that finds the deal and is putting all the players in the right seats. And then there's an operator, which is usually part of the general partnership that manages the assets and executes the pro forma and the construction or the renovations, et cetera. So usually the way this works is you have a sponsor, and the sponsor is usually a general partner in the deal. And the sponsor will go and they will find great operators. They will find great deals. And then they will use their relationships to raise capital for that deal, usually from limited partners. Limited partners are usually investors that do not want to do any work. They just want to invest money and get a return and make passive income and grow their wealth, and that is it. They don't want to have any involvement in the actual ins and outs of the deal themselves. And so it's a great way for people who want passive income to make passive income. What's really great about this vehicle is it has not always been available. So they passed the, don't correct me if I'm wrong here, but I want to say it was the Jobs Act in 2012. And it basically freed up some regulations for sponsors to go out and raise capital from Main Street. So mom and pop investors that have, $50,000 or more and pull their capital together and to buy these larger assets. Usually this had been reserved for people with very big checks, Wall Street, that could go and write a check and, put 20, 30, 40, $50 million into something. And so that's who kind of controlled this world. So in 2012, it was a real game changer for Main Street because it opened up investment opportunities to Main Street that had originally been reserved for the super wealthy or Wall Street. So it's a great idea. This is self-storage. This is apartments. This is retail space. This is office space. The alternative investment world, especially real estate, there is a lot of deals that are done with syndications. And so if you're a investor that wants to get involved in syndications, you can Google it. There's a lot of different sponsors who are out there raising money. We're a sponsor. We raise money for our own deals. We do syndications. So this is a very powerful vehicle that we know works. And usually what happens is the way it's structured is there's usually a 506C or there's a 506B. And 506B, and again, do your own research. I'm not an accountant or a lawyer, so take this with a grain of salt. Always go get your own legal counsel if this is something that you want to go pursue. Do not listen to me. But a 506B syndication is when you are raising money from people you have a pre-existing relationship with, and they have some sophistication. So they have to have some level of investing experience. They can't be brand new to it, and you have to have a pre-existing relationship with them. So this is for like friends and family. And then you have 506C that is reserved for accredited investors. And so you have to meet a certain criteria. You have to make a certain amount of money over a certain amount of period. And you have to have a certain amount of like liquid net worth that's not your personal residence. So this is more accredited, means you're dealing with people who are financially well off. You don't have to have a pre-existing relationship with them. You can usually advertise and put your deals all over the place. And then you've also got 506B, where you cannot advertise. It's only for friends and family, and they have to have some level of sophistication. When you invest in a syndication, what you are doing is you are investing in a new company. So there is a limited liability company usually that is started. So this is a business, it is a brand new business, and investors are purchasing ownership shares. There's usually Class A shares and Class B shares. Class B shares for the general partners, Class A shares for the limited partners. And limited just means you're in a limited position where you don't have to make all of the daily decisions that the general partners do. And so investors are actual owners of this LLC through their investment. And the general partner is an owner as well, because they're putting the deal together and they're managing it and they're finding the deals. And so you've got this share where the limited partners really don't have a whole lot of say-so in the operations, but they can usually request financials. They can call a meeting. They usually don't, but this is something that they can do that a lot of limited partners don't know. There is usually 3 sets of documents. So there's the private placement memorandum, the operating agreement, and the subscription agreement. The subscription agreement is where you write down the actual number of shares that you are subscribing to, that you're purchasing. The operating agreement outlines how the duties and responsibilities of the limited liability company will be broken down, who is going to do what. And the private placement memorandum outlines exactly what the intent of the LLC is. So if you're investing in apartment syndication, you want to make sure that private placement memorandum says this money is only going to be used for this apartment at 123 Main Street, and it's this amount, and this is the plan. So it basically says, hey, the money has to be used for this reason, and if it's not, that's fraud, and the general partners can basically go to prison if they don't use the money for its intended purposes. So those are the 3 documents involved. And after you join a syndication, so you own shares, and so there's a separate bank account that the general partners should be setting up that's outside of their other deals, and you basically execute on the deal. It's fantastic. You can do a ton of different types of deals. Real estate is very popular for this type of vehicle. And if you're investing in apartments, it's great because you can get quarterly cash flow. Usually there's a quarterly a dividend or distribution that's given to the investors. So it helps give some of that cash flow that you want to live off of. If that's your goal, you usually earn cash flow quarterly. There's usually called like a preferred return. A preferred return means this is the amount of money that you're going to get per year in distributions. And then there is also an equity kicker. So just for example purposes, let's say that a deal does a 6% preferred return and a 6% equity kicker. That means if you invest $100,000, you can invest and expect to get 6% or $6,000 per year in cash flow. That's the preferred return, and $6,000 a year in equity accumulation. You get all of your equity accumulation when the sale of the asset occurs or there's a refinance or something else. So great way to create passive income. If you're doing like new construction homes, we basically waterfall 100% of the distributions to the investors until we get them paid out, and then we profit on the remaining homes that are left after that. So there's a ton of different ways that you can set this up with your syndications, with your sponsors. This is a fantastic investing vehicle. It's something that not a lot of people know about, and there's this kind of wave of knowledge that's hitting the market that is making syndications more mainstream, and it is a fantastic opportunity if you're a Main Street investor. If you want to learn more about syndications, go to our website, hbgcapital.net. If you're interested in learning more about investments in general, We've got a ton of free resources on our website that you can check out. You can go to. It's designed to inform you and educate you on investing so you can make better educated decisions and create financial freedom and impact those around you through your passive income. All right, that's all for today. We'll see you next time.